Good morning, year fours. This is Thursday, your fourth English lesson, and today we're going to be working on our conclusions. So there are two parts to the end of our persuasive text. Our learning objective today is to write a counter-argument and a conclusion of persuasive text. Our success criteria, we are going to be writing in paragraphs. We're going to continue to use DD sentences, noun-which sentences, and use appropriate conjunctions. So let's start. Remember, we are writing a persuasive text to children our age, in year 4, to convince them what is the best school to go to. And of course, we believe that the best schools to go to is the schools that we are going to. Phillip Lane or Coleraine Park, depending where you are. To be successful in this task, let's revise our key vocabulary. What's the word that means to go on to? In a sentence, we are going on to an adventure. Which of these words could replace go on to? Well done if you thought embark. We can also embark in an adventure. Which of these words could replace energizing? Our school offers energizing learning experiences. Well done if you thought stimulating will work well here. Our schools offer stimulating clubs, trips, and so on. Which word here means very broad? Well done if you thought extensive. Now, as extensive can mean a lot, it can also mean broad in terms of an extensive curriculum, meaning that it covers so many areas that it makes a very good curriculum. Which of these words mean super good, above average, everything that we could think? Well done if you thought phenomenal. Phenomenal will work just fine for that. Which of these words mean very important? Significant. Good. Which of these words mean a lot in quantity? This picture really helps you. Abundance. We offer an abundance of opportunities in clubs. Which of these words mean to work really hard and be aware of your work? Conscientious. Our teachers in our schools, they help us become conscientious students. Finally, which of these words mean big in variety? Diverse. Let's just check some synonyms for our key vocabulary. For phenomenal, when we're thinking about something especially good, we can go for exceptional, extraordinary, remarkable, and outstanding. When we're thinking of extensive, large in amount or scale, when you're thinking that a curriculum is extensive, we can also use words such as comprehensive, thorough, and complete. Diverse, your turn. Synonyms for diverse: various, multiple, distinctive, and assorted. Abundance, your turn. Synonyms for abundance could be profusion, affluence, amplitude, plenitude. Plenitude of clubs are offered in our schools. Stimulating, your turn. Synonyms for stimulating could be motivating, energizing, and encouraging. Significant, your turn. Other words for significant are notable, remarkable, important, and striking. Conscientious, your turn. Synonyms for conscientious students could be diligent, dedicated, careful, thorough, hardworking. Finally, embark, your turn. We could use words such as jump on, start, and set about, embark on an adventure, embark on an exclusive residential trip. Right, so we have enough keywords to set us. So we're going to make sure we're going to be writing in paragraphs using this key vocabulary into DD sentences and now which sentences where we can add enough information to create a counter argument and finally close our text with a conclusion. Now, quiz time. What is the structure of a persuasive text? There are 5 steps to it. You name them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check. First step, what I think. Why I think this 1, why I think this 2, why I think this 3, what other people think, and why I still think it. I'm sorry, I think I've said 5. There are 6. Today, we're looking at these 2 stages over here. What other people think and why I still think it. We're looking to use a counter argument and a conclusion where we're going to reinforce why we still think what we think, given the reasons that we stated before. Let's see if you also remember the persuasive text features that we've been using and practicing this week. What's the text feature where we ask a question that we don't expect an answer for? Yes, well done if you said rhetorical question. Such as, did you know that our school is on top 20% in the country? Would you like to go to the best school in the country? You don't want them to answer this question because the answer should be obvious, but you're hooking your reader. We developed some arguments using facts and statistics, and it's unlikely that we're going to use facts and statistics to build our counter argument, but this is what our text was based on. We may use some exaggeration. Our school is the best school in the universe. And today we're going to look at conjunctions a little bit more in detail because we need to make sure that we choose the right conjunctions to link the text and link each sentence to another part of the text so it makes more sense. Let's have a look at it. Right. Let's recap a noun, which, who, where sentence. The rule for that is quite clear. We use commas to embed a clause. Now that's the tricky bit. What does an embedded clause mean? Right, let's have a look at this sentence over here. Our brilliant teachers help us become conscientious students. I like you to read it like that and ignore the bit in the middle bit. So this is a full sentence that makes sense on its own. It has a who or a what, has a verb, starts with a capital letter, ends with a full stop, and it makes sense on its own. Now, I want to add information here. So this is a sentence that helps me to add information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use commas to break this up. So I break it up in the middle after my noun, the teachers. Noun, comma. Now I embed a clause. A clause is a part of a sentence that does not make sense on its own, but instead I'm just adding information. Who invest a lot of their precious time on boosters. In here I need to use who because teachers are people. Even though sometimes we feel more like robots, we are people. So this is the this is the noun that we need to use here. Now, pause the video and make sure that you can write a few noun which sentences here so you can take them to your you can take them to your right once you get there. Let's also revise what the DD sentences are. So here's another sentence type that is good to add information. So a DD sentence, you have description and then colon followed by detail. So again, the punctuation here is very important. The first part is giving a description. The first part of your sentence is giving a description. The second part is giving further detail. We need to separate these two parts using a colon. Let's have a look at these two examples. Some people may argue that we spend too many hours in school. This is a description. I need to add detail after a colon. So colon, sometimes we only see our parents at dinner time. This is detail linked to this reason of spending too many hours in school. What about this one? Sometimes children will struggle to read. This is a description. I want to add detail to this situation, so I need to add my punctuation, colon. I can add detail. There will always be a teacher to help you to read and to read with you every day. There we go. Pause the video and try and make some DT sentences here that you can take to your writing task later on. Let's highlight the use of conjunctions. Now, conjunctions are little words that help you link sentences, link words and ideas in your writing. So far, when we've been listing reasons why I think this one, why I think this two, why I think this three, we are always adding something to our list. So we've been using additive conjunctions so far. We use words such as also, and, as well as, in addition, moreover, with, furthermore, and some other expressions together with it. Now, because we are building our paragraph of a counter argument, we are going to use conjunctions that give the idea of opposition. An opposition means that you are contrary to that idea. So if you want to say that you disagree with something, you may start with your sentence using the words however or on the other hand. Now, if you're starting your sentence with a conjunction like that, it's imperative that you remember your punctuation. If you start a sentence with a conjunction like this, you need to follow it we need to complete it with a comma right after it. There are conjunctions that you cannot start a sentence with, but is something that you wouldn't start your sentence with. But it would be in the middle of a sentence, like, for example, boy sentences, where you're linking two parts of a sentence with an opposition idea. But you not start a sentence with it, and therefore you don't need a comma after it, but before it. So let's have a look at what is it that we are building today. We are writing these two parts of our persuasive text. This is the end of our text. So overall, the whole text that we're writing 2 paragraphs today, but this is all called the conclusion part. We break it down into 2 parts so we know what goes in each part. What others think. We are now showing an argument, but we're not going to leave an argument without a counter argument. Remember, we are convincing them of our point of view in this text. So we may need to validate that some people think otherwise, but we are not going to agree with them. So let's think about some ways that we can start our sentences to present an argument that we don't agree with. So we just use some conjunctions over there, and let's have a look at what it might look like. On the other hand, comma, and then you can start create an argument. On the other hand, why would people not agree with us that our schools are the best? Think of reasons why they may think this. Here's one of them. Skeptics may argue that we spend too many hours in school. Also, we can try and start another argument with however, comma, and then think of another reason. Think of another reason why people might disagree with us that our schools are the best. Here's another reason. Some people think that our building is too old. Well, do you think this is a good reason? Not in particular, but if you raise these arguments against our main point in this text, we need to make sure that we give them counter arguments. So whatever is the point that you're raising, we need to make sure that we give a solution for that. So here's what it may look like. If we talk about maybe the first one, the first option of skeptics, on the other hand, skeptics might argue that we spend too many hours in school. We may say, we need to validate this point. This is a valid point, but conjunction. Look where the comma goes. We know that time spent in our school is time well invested in our future. So this is your counter argument. What about the other argument that our building is too old? What do you think could be a counter argument to that one? Let's have a look at this one. However, some people think that our building is too old. Well, we can say after that, this may be true. However, it does not impede our outstanding learning. Impede means to stop our outstanding learning. Make notes of these arguments and counter arguments that you may use for your paragraph on what others think. So pause the video if you need some more time to make notes. Right, so this is going to be our last paragraph. And this is your final conclusion. Why I still think it. So this means that in here, this paragraph is going to bring back the statement of what we were talking about, that our schools are the best. Reinforce the 3 arguments that we presented in why I think this 1, why I think this 2, why I think this 3. And we may use a structure that ends the text well, that is called call for action. So we end the text in an emotional note to make sure that people engaged with our idea and we call them to do something about it. Now, in a conclusion, you may find these sentence starters quite useful. So here they are. In conclusion, finally, to sum up, in summary, are all sentence starters that may help you introduce some ideas in here to bring up your final statements, your arguments, and your call for action. This is what it might look like. In conclusion, there is no school like ours. That's a statement. To sum up, our school has the best teachers, the best curriculum, and the best trips. So you're listing your 3 arguments in here. And this brings back that list of 3, the power of 3. Also, here's an example of call for action. Time is running out. If you have not made your application to next year, this opportunity will disappear. So it has the structure of a DD sentence here, and it's appealing to your emotions of you need to do something if you want to change your future, if you want to go to attend the best schools in the world. So finally, at the end of the text, you assume that now your reader is convinced and now they want to be part of the best school in the country. So they need to do something about it. Can you think of another way of using a call for action? Think of a sentence that you can use in your writing. Pause the video, make a note, and then move on to your to-do. And here's what your to-do looks like today. So you again have, so you don't worry about the title. The title stays there. You today have the 2 pictures here showing that we are writing about the counter argument. So here is, so versus, so we're giving the counter argument idea, and the conclusion about why we're finally the best. Here you have prompts of your paragraph. So this is the prompt of the first paragraph, what others think. This is the argument, counter argument, and opposing conjunctions. That's what we are going to use that. You don't need to leave the prompt there. You can erase that. Actually, you have to erase that. But make sure that you separate what you write for what others think from why I still think it into 2 separate paragraphs. So you need to press enter and leave a space. And if you're writing in your book, you need to skip a line. Here you're going to write your conclusion, you're going to reinforce your statement, your 3 arguments, and you're going to use the structure call for action to end your text in an interesting note. Once you finish, make sure that you go over all of your success criteria to check that you have a good piece of writing. You make sure that you have organized your text into paragraphs, that you use noun-rich sentences, that you use DD sentences, that you use appropriate conjunctions, that you have used the key vocabulary, and that you have read and checked your work for spellings, punctuation, and that everything is making sense. Now remember, your key vocabulary is always available over here. Every time you hover over your words, the meaning of them are going to pop up, so you don't need to come back to the video to check this. And if you need to come back to the video, feel free to come and collect more ideas from the previous slides. I'm really looking forward to read your conclusion today, and that is going to make you ready for tomorrow's big write. See you tomorrow.